Where do you even begin with the Cleveland Browns? You could go back to the story of Baker Mayfield, where after taking the team to a playoff win, he struggled the following years dealing with injuries, playing through injuries, and then was traded to Carolina so the team could trade 3 first-rounders for Deshaun Watson and give him over $200 million guaranteed. Now, since then, the Browns have clearly not bounced back. This season, Myles Garrett wanted to be traded from the team, and then they gave him, at the time, the highest non-quarterback contract in NFL history. And I just personally feel like a team that's already losing and already dealing with all these cap issues from what you gave Deshaun Watson, the last thing you need to be doing is extending a player to a long-term big money deal whenever you could trade him away and get a haul of draft picks. Now, I'm not a GM, so maybe they know what they're doing. I personally disagree, but the Browns have just been a poverty franchise for basically forever. So today we're going to be rebuilding the Cleveland Browns for 10 years. They have the 2nd overall pick. They could get a very good prospect from this year's draft. So that's what we're going to be doing, and we're going to try to see how far we can take this team and see if we can potentially win a Super Bowl. Leave in the comments if you think there's any chance the Browns will win a Super Bowl in the next 10 years. And if you enjoy the video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe right now, you could have a chance to win a free NFL jersey. We'll get more into that later in the video, but for now, please enjoy. Now, at the time of recording this, Russell Wilson has still yet to be claimed by a team. He did apparently meet with Cleveland and left without getting a contract, but he's still available here and he's still available in real life. So I actually wouldn't hate bringing in Russell Wilson on a 1-year deal. I know Russell Wilson just signed with the Giants. I recorded this before that had happened. He's only on the team for 1 season, so it doesn't affect the long term of the video, so I just wanted to put that out there. We don't have any money though, which does make me wonder if it would be worth it to maybe restructure a contract or two so that we can afford to bring in a Russell Wilson and have a quarterback that can actually win us some games here pretty early in the rebuild. So we restructured Denzel Ward's contract. Russell Wilson is really not interested in coming here, so we might have to pay him a decent amount of money, but $14 million for 1 year from a quarterback like Russell Wilson just so we can develop a quarterback that we might draft in one of the later rounds might be exactly what this team needs. And we did manage to get Russell Wilson. Ignore the rest of these players. These are some of the Browns free agents that I wasn't able to keep under contract, but I wanted to make sure that we locked them down, so I switched them to quarterback and gave them their deals. But Russell Wilson is going to be the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns for the first year of this rebuild. Also, if there's any team you want to see me rebuild in the future, please feel free to leave in the comments what team you would like to see. And if I do end up doing whatever you comment, I will put your comment in the video as well. And here we are at the day of the NFL draft, where we hold the 2nd overall pick. Now, there's a world where we could potentially get Shedeur Sanders at number 2, but I personally think with where the Cleveland Browns are as a franchise, they are much better off taking a prospect like Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter in the 1st round, making sure they can get a lockdown superstar and then maybe take a chance on a quarterback in the 2nd round, which I think is what we're going to do here. I'm sure I put whoever we drafted in the title because I do have an idea of who I want to draft. So Travis Hunter is actually going to go number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. I do think they would take Cam Ward at that position, but they didn't take the player I want, which is going to be Abdul Carter. We are going to be pairing the best pass rusher from this class up with Myles Garrett to hopefully generate some insane pass rush for the following years. So Abdul Carter is going to come off the board at number 2 and be a Cleveland Brown. And Jackson Dart is actually still available with our pick in the 2nd round, and this is who we're going to be taking. We're going to have 1 year with Russ, and then after our 1st season with Russ, we're probably going to throw Jackson Dart in as a starter. And signing Russell Wilson gives us a year or 2 to make the roster a little bit better so that Jackson Dart doesn't have to come in and be the savior or anything like that. This draft class is so booty. Tyler Warren is still available in the 3rd round. I want to draft somebody I've never taken before, so we're going to go with Mitchell Evans with elite strength, A run blocking, A awareness, and break tackle. He's not going to do much in his first couple years, but if we do have to move on from Njoku, it'll be nice to have a tight end that we can move on to in the future. And then I'm going to go ahead and give the rest of these draft picks to the CPU, and we'll hop into the 1st year of this rebuild. So here's how the roster is looking going into the 1st year. We no longer have Jedrick Wills. The Browns have yet to re-sign him in real life. I went ahead and let him go. We do have Tevin Jenkins added to the offensive line for this season. And then we brought in Russ to be the quarterback 1 for this year. Our receiving core is pretty weak outside of Jerry Jeudy, so I do want to try to add some receivers in the following years. But I actually do like our defense. I think we could use a little bit more depth at linebacker, but I really like our defensive line. I like our secondary for the most part, and I do think if this defense plays up to how it should, we could have a pretty decent 1st year. So we're going to go ahead and set our season goal just to get 4 wins. I honestly don't think we have a very good roster, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and I wouldn't hate getting another good draft pick for next season. And then we'll scout safety and receivers for our tier 3 scout. I mainly just care about receiver being in there, but our corners are pretty good. I do think we could use maybe 1 more safety, so we'll make the other position safety. We'll probably get through this 1st season pretty fast because I don't think we're going to be very good. So unless there's some big re-signings we need to make at the midseason, I'll probably just see you guys at the very end of year number 1. So we actually do have a pretty decent amount of re-signings here to make it the midseason. We have to bring back David Njoku, Greg Newsome, Tevin Jenkins, Martin Emerson, Wyatt Teller, and that's really only the important names. I would like to bring David Njoku back. However, he's not interested in the team and is asking for a 4-year deal. I would give him a 3-year deal and even pay him a little bit extra money to see if that can motivate him to come back. So I'm going to offer him a 3-year, $48 million contract. and he's just not interested in re-signing. There probably is a world where we have to move on from David Njoku after this season. Greg Newsome only being 25 though, I definitely would like to have him back, and he's not asking for a crazy amount of money, so I am willing to slightly overpay, and we're going to offer him 5 years, $55 million. And he also does not resign, so we're going to have to come back to that at the end of the season and see if we can get him back. Now, Tevin Jenkins, I want to try to get on a longer-term deal to make sure we can have a good guard for a decent amount of this rebuild, so I'm going to offer him a 3-year, $48 million contract, and he actually does resign. And then especially with Greg Newsome declining our offer, I would really like to bring back Martin Emerson, so we're going to give him a 3-year, $18 million deal, and he's going to resign. And then I think we can come back at the end of the season and look at the rest of these. So we actually ended up finishing season 1, 8-9, which is not bad whatsoever. We did have one of the worst offenses in the league, which is to be expected, but we had one of the best defenses in the league, which is something you do want to see, because that means once we build our offense, if our defense can keep playing at this level, we will be a good team. And I am glad we brought in Russ to at least get a decent record, because if we can get Jackson Dart some positive morale and a little bit of progression before he gets thrown in as a starter, I think that's the best case scenario. But Russell Wilson definitely struggled this season. He threw for 3,400 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 20 interceptions. I also did let Nick Chubb go as well. I kind of forgot to mention that. They have yet to re-sign him, and Nick Chubb does look like he's taken a step back since his injury. So we did let him go, unfortunately, and Jerome Ford was the #1 back. Got over 900 yards, averaged almost 4 per carry, and got 5 touchdowns. Not a terrible season. Jamari Thrash was our leading receiver for whatever reason, with 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns, 800 out of Cedric Tillman, 6 touchdowns, only 600 yards out of Jerry Jeudy, and 2 touchdowns. We definitely are going to need to see better numbers from him out of the future. 600 yards out of David Njoku and 8 touchdowns for him. And then let's see how our pass rush duo was this first year. We got 11.5 sacks out of Myles Garrett, 6 out of Mike Hall, 5 sacks out of Abdul Carter, 7 TFLs. I would have liked a better season out of him. He probably won't win Defensive Rookie of the Year, but these are still decent enough numbers that I know once we make the defense even better and change the playbooks that he'll start putting up better numbers. Then we got 5 interceptions out of Denzel Ward, 3 out of Martin Emerson, 2 out of JOK, Jordan Hicks, and Greg Newsome, and then 1 out of a few players as well. MVP this year goes to Jalen Hurts. Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Jamar Chase. Defensive Player of the Year is going to go to Greg Rousseau. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Luther Burden, who went to the Jets. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Nick Emenwari, who goes to the Dolphins. He's been winning Defensive Rookie of the Year for me a lot recently. But let's go ahead and hop into the offseason and let's get ready for your number 2. The Giants actually just made it to the Super Bowl, played against the Baltimore Ravens, but the Baltimore Ravens did win, and Roquan Smith is your Super Bowl MVP. Shedeur Sanders won Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Giants, so he got drafted to the Giants and took them to a Super Bowl in his first year. That is insane. But let's go ahead and take a look back at these re-signings that we may have missed at the midseason. David Njoku's 30 years old. It looks like he regressed a little bit. I really don't want to pay him more than like 3 years, $49.5 million, which is what we're going to offer him. And he's going to test out free agency. That's personally okay with me. Obviously, I would like to keep him around, but I don't want to overpay for a 30-year-old tight end that's going to be regressing soon. Greg Newsome, on the other hand, I do want to make sure we get back, so I'm going to give him a better offer. We're going to give him 5 years, $62.5 million, and that is enough to sway him our way. Now, I do kind of want to bring back Wyatt Teller for 1 more year, because $9 million is not expensive at all, and then if we do draft a guard, he doesn't have to start in his first year here. So we're going to offer Wyatt Teller 1 year, $9 million, and he's going to resign. And then I would do the same thing with Joel Bitonio, but he's just not interested and asking for more money. So I think we're pretty much going to let everybody else go, and we're going to try to hold on to some money for free agency. But let's see what free agents are available. Let's see if we can make this roster better. We went 8-9 last year, so anything we can add will be helpful. And Greg Rousseau just won Defensive Player of the Year and is now an available free agent. That's crazy. But I'm sure it's not a surprise to anybody. Nobody is interested in coming to the Cleveland Browns. We're honestly just going to have an insanely weak free agency this year, and we're going to try to bring in a 25-year-old Ike Mekwonu just to try to add more depth to this offensive line, and he's young enough that if we lose one of our tackles, at least we'll have another one that can play. So we're going to try to get Ike Mekwonu here in free agency, and he does sign. And even if we don't really have a spot for him at tackle this year, with us losing Joel Bitonio, we could slide him into guard and just see how that goes. Which means going into the year, this is what the roster is going to be looking like. Kwanu is actually going to be starting at left tackle, and with having Wyatt Teller and Tevin Jenkins, losing Joel Bitonio did not mean much. We do need to try to draft a new center this season. We're probably going to have Evans be the starting tight end unless we can find a sleeper tight end in one of the late rounds. Jackson Dart's going to be QB1 this season. We do need a better running back in the future, but first priority in this year's draft is going to be getting another receiver for Jackson Dart to throw to. And then honestly, if we didn't have a single defensive pick, I wouldn't hate it. We could use a safety, so we could try to get one of those in the later rounds, and we could use another D tackle, but our defense was pretty good this season, and I think with our pass rush alone. Also, I'm going to give Abdul Carter Superstar. I don't know why he doesn't have it in this draft class, but I do think it's fair that somebody at his talent will have Superstar. But as I was saying, with how much our offense struggled and how good our defense was, I do think number one priority in this year's draft needs to be trying to make this offense as good as we possibly can. So there's actually only one round one talent receiver who's only 21 years old. So that is definitely somebody we're going to need to try to land in this year's draft. There also is a round 1 to 2 talent who's a projected UDFA that we can maybe pick up in the 6th or 7th round and try to get a steal. And then there's a couple pretty decent late round centers as well that I think we could use our 2nd or 3rd round pick on. First, we need to see where that receiver is projected to go, and he's projected to go at number 10 to the Buccaneers. We'll be picking at 16 this year. With us needing a receiver as bad as we do, and there only being one good one in this class, I do think we should try to trade up with the Jaguars, jump in front of the Bucs, and try to get that receiver. I'm not too good with trade value, so I don't know how good of a trade this is, but to move up 7 spots, we're obviously giving them our 1st rounder for this year, offer them our 2nd rounder for next season. They're going to get our 3rd round draft pick for this year as well. I think this is pretty fair value. You can leave in the comments if you think I'm wrong. I'm really bad when it comes to like trade pick value. But we are going to move up to a spot where we should be able to get this receiver. But we unfortunately will not have a 2nd round draft pick next year. But we moved up to the perfect spot. He has not been taken here yet at pick number 9. So we're going to be getting ourselves a 21-year-old round 1 talent receiver out of Florida. A ball carrier vision, break tackle, kick return, medium route, spin move, and spec catch. This guy looks pretty good. He'll probably be like a 75, 76, 77 overall. Will be instantly our receiver 2 for this season. If we can get him developing as a rookie, I think he could be a good long-term receiver for this team. So Glenn Williamson is going to be our 1st round pick. Ranked 10 in true value, has hit in dev, 90 speed, 95 excel. I think that's going to be a very valuable pick for the future of this team. And then with our next pick, we are going to take one of the centers off the board, and Raymond Franklin. He's only 21 years old, out of Arkansas. Elite agility, B pass block and pass block finesse, A run block, A awareness. This guy will probably be our starting center in his 1st year. Ranked 72 in true value, not the best pick, but he does have hidden dev and 88 strength, so he'll definitely be able to develop. There's a chance he could be our center for the rest of this rebuild. I think here in round 4, we might try to go with a linebacker. Oh, we're not going with this guy. I'm honestly going to let the CPU make this 4th round pick, but then I'm going to use our 5th round pick to get that round 1 to 2 talent UDFA receiver or whatever it was. So Brenton Rogan is only 21 years old, out of Notre Dame. Elite speed, jumping, agility, and acceleration. A spec catch, B deep route. With how many Fs this guy has, I really don't understand how he's around 1 to 2 talent. He will definitely have normal dev. But if we can get somebody at this overall in the 5th round, I will take that any day of the week. Ranked 44 in true value, got him at 144. He has 99 speed, 99 acceleration. I am going to find a way to get this guy involved in the offense. Maybe make him the wide receiver 3. And who knows, if he could win Offensive Rookie of the Year, we can get insanely lucky. He could get a dev up and be a very good receiver for the future. So we're going to hand the rest of this draft over to the CPU, and we're going to get ready for year number 2. So the receiver we got in the 1st round is a 76 overall. He'll come in as a wide receiver 2 automatically. We got a 72 overall center. The CPU ended up taking a corner with the pick we gave to them, and they got a 70 overall corner. So I will definitely take that. And then that receiver that we got in the 5th round is a 73 overall. So I'm going to try to find a way where he's going to be the receiver number 3 if we could try to get him developing as a rookie, because 99 speed, 99 excel is insane. I can't remember the last time I drafted a 99 speed player, honestly. That's pretty sick. But it's going to be Jackson Dart's 1st year as a starter for the Cleveland Browns. I'm excited to see how that's going to go. Hopefully not another failed quarterback project for the Cleveland Browns here. I do think if anything's going to hold us back this season, it's going to be our running back. Running back is definitely the most important position in franchise. If you don't have a good running back, you just don't win. But I mainly care about what numbers Jackson Dart puts up this season and trying to get him developed as soon as possible. I do think we're going to trade Cedric Tillman now that we got those 2 rookies. I really want to get them developing. So we're just going to trade Cedric Tillman to the Colts for a 4th round draft pick. So our receiving core now is going to be Jerry Jeudy, Williamson, and Rogan. 2 rookies, and then Jerry Jeudy to lead the bunch. Drafted a new center, so the offensive line looks good. Evans is going to be a starter this year at tight end, and Jackson Dart is, of course, going to be the QB1. And then defensively, we definitely should have drafted a linebacker at some point. I'll try to go out and get one in free agency. I also think I'm going to start Martin Emerson at strong safety just because we have corner depth and we need somebody up there right now. But I'll probably go get a linebacker out of free agency so it's not just JOK. So we actually brought in Anderson in free agency to help out JOK with the linebacker group. And then I actually signed Jordan Poyer so that Martin Emerson can just strictly play at corner and hopefully bring as much value to the team as possible. And for Jackson Dart's 1st year as a starting quarterback, I'm going to set the season goal to get 7 wins. We went 8-9 last year. I would say we made the roster a little bit better. We definitely did downgrade at quarterback just slightly, but I don't imagine Jackson Dart will throw 20 interceptions like Russell Wilson did. I do think we should be able to get 7 wins this season. And then with our scouts, I'm going to use our tier 3 scout to focus on the offensive line for this season. So let's go ahead and get year 2 started. I'll see you guys at the midseason. And we are actually 5-2 at the midseason in Jackson Dart's 1st year as a starter. We have the best defense in the league in points allowed. Offense isn't as good as I would want it to be, but we do have the 10th offense in passing yards. I'm not going to dive too deep into any of these stats. I really just want to see how Jackson Dart is doing. 1,600 yards, 14 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. That's what we want to see. Then I also would like to check on our pass rushers. And this is what we want to see. 5.5 sacks out of Myles Garrett, 5 out of Mike Hall, 4 out of Abdul Carter, and 3 out of Jawan Briggs. That is perfect. Now, Myles Garrett technically should not be here. I did forget to give him his actual contract, I guess, but we'll just re-sign him here and pretend this is how it went in real life because he's not interested in the team, so we're going to have to pay him a lot of money anyways. We have to bring back Grant Delpit as well, Wyatt Teller. Not too many important players because I probably will let Wyatt Teller go this season. But first priority is going to be getting Myles Garrett back. So we're going to offer him basically $40 million a year over 5 years. We'll see if he accepts that, which he does. So we got Myles Garrett locked down for pretty much until he retires. And then Grant Delpit isn't asking for too much money. I'll give him a 3-year, $22 million offer, and he's not really interested. I don't think losing Grant Delpit will be the end of the world. If we lose him in free agency, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, but we'll definitely come back to this at the end of the season and see who we want to bring back. And we just finished year number 2, 13-4, and actually got the 1 seed in the AFC. We had once again one of the best defenses in the league, and our offense wasn't very bad either. Jackson Dart was actually 5th in the NFL in passing yards with over 4,600, threw 43 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions, and completed just under 70% of his passes. This is an insane season from Jackson Dart. Devin Neal wasn't very good. We're definitely going to need to get a better running back in the future, but we're in a very pass-heavy playbook, so as of right now, it's not affecting us too much. Jerry Jeudy goes for over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. Rogan, as a rookie, over 1,100 yards and 15 touchdowns. He could get that Rookie of the Year dev up like we wanted him to and become one of the best receivers in the league with 99 speed and 99 excel. And then 1,000 yards out of Glenn Williamson and 10 touchdowns, and then 1,000 yards out of Mitchell Evans as well and 6 touchdowns. So all of the players that we need to develop had great seasons. And defensively, 14.5 sacks out of Abdul Carter, 10 TFLs, 13.5 out of Myles Garrett with 12 TFLs. We got 8 sacks out of Mike Hall, 6 out of Jawan Briggs, 4 picks out of Denzel Ward, 3 out of JOK, and then 2 out of Troy Anderson, Martin Emerson, and Grant Delpit. Everybody played fantastic this season. MVP is going to go to Josh Allen, but we did come in 6th with Jackson Dart in his first year as a starter. Offensive Player of the Year also going to go to Josh Allen. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Max Crosby. We came in 7th with Abdul Carter and 8th with Myles Garrett. Offensive Rookie of the Year does go to Brenton Rogan. He's going to get a dev up, and I do think this guy could become one of the best receivers in the league by the time we're done with this video. Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to Lance Martin for the Miami Dolphins. You know, I really hope we don't do all this just to lose in the divisional. Let's go see who we're going to be taking on after our first round bye in the playoffs. And we're taking on the Houston Texans. I definitely think this is a winnable game. I want to say we also beat them in the regular season. They had the 11th scoring offense to the 17th scoring defense. With how good our defense was, I do think we should be able to hold the Texans to a pretty low score. And Jackson Dart balled out all regular season. If he can have a good game here, we could find ourselves getting our first playoff win of the video. So let's into the AFC Championship. Is there a world where we make it in year number 2? And we beat the Texans 42-28. It wasn't even close. Jackson Dart threw for over 300 passing yards and 5 passing touchdowns, and Abdul Carter got 5 tackles and 3 sacks. That's starting to look like a pretty crazy draft class we had that year. We do unfortunately have to take on the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. They have a 92 overall team, have the second best offense in the league. Their defense was pretty bad, so we probably should be pretty competitive in this game, but I really don't think there's any reason we should win, so this is probably where our playoff run ends. And I was mistaken. We actually find ourselves in a Super Bowl in year number 2 with Jackson Dart at the helm. That is insane. And he's actually going to go up to Star Dev after his crazy season. Rogan only went up to Star Dev as well. I expected him to go up to Superstar, but I do think if we could just repeat his season from this year next season, he'll easily go up to Superstar and start developing like crazy. Evans went up to star as well, so Rogan, Dart, and Evans all get dev ups for this year. And then Denzel Ward's actually going to go up to X Factor. Anderson's going to go up to star dev. Everybody is developing beautifully. I don't know. I think we hop in, watch a little bit of the Super Bowl, maybe play a drive with Jackson Dart. I think that could be pretty cool because it's not guaranteed we're going to make a Super Bowl the rest of the video. I don't know how we did it in year 2, but I think I will hop in and play the opening drive just because I highly doubt we're going to make another Super Bowl. So if we could win this one, it would be pretty cool. The Eagles are going to get a touchdown on their opening possession. Now, the one thing that does worry me is I really always play bad against the CPU, so I have to run the ball a lot, but we're just such a pass-heavy offense. I don't really know how that's going to go. If you can hear my dog chewing that obnoxious toy in the background, I apologize. We're going to pick up 6 yards there on first down. I think we just got to come out and sling it. We got to pretend this is just like the regular season, and we got to throw some darts, if you know what I mean. I think I'm just going to throw the screen. That's wide open. I really want to get Rogan to just torch somebody, bro. With 99 speed, like if he can get free for a second, they are cooked. There's no way they can keep up with him there. Jackson Dart missed the throw. That's unfortunate. It's his first year as a starter. He's going to miss throws every now and then. Let's put this one on the ground. Let's pick up some yards, try to make third down easier. All right, or only get 3 yards and make third down just as hard. If this is man, though, Rogan should get wide open on this corner route. There's no way. Okay, if that's not pass interference, what is, man? Like, come on, bro. I am going for this on 4th and 7. I don't even care. Come on, Rogan, please catch it. Yo, like it's in your hands, bro. How is that a drop? We're just gonna let the CPU do the rest of this. The Eagles are up 21-0. It's looking like it's about over, and we don't even score before halftime. So we go into halftime down 21-0. We do get a touchdown and a stop, but our offense is just struggling right now, man. I mean, we had such a good offense in the regular season just to come in the Super Bowl and put up 7 points. I know I didn't score on my drive, but come on, man. And on my drive, my receiver dropped a pass that literally hit him directly in the hands, but we have 1 Super Bowl appearance in the second year of the video. I will take that even though we didn't win. I am happy. That was a success. We're now at the offseason. I think we're going to let Grant Delpit hit free agency in case there is a better option than him, either through free agency or the draft. Same with Wyatt Teller. Same with DeJuan Jones. I think we're pretty much going to let everybody that's here go. We could bring back Jack Conklin, but same thing. There could be a good tackle in free agency or in the draft. I just don't think we need to pay a 33-year-old right tackle right now. You know what? Troy Anderson actually earned himself a second contract, so we're going to sign him back for 2 years, and we will finally be free from the Deshaun Watson deal as well. But with Jackson Dart still being on his rookie deal, we are left $114 million to work with in free agency coming off of a Super Bowl appearance. So let's try to make a splash in this year's free agency, make this roster even better. And honestly, most of these players we don't even really have a use for, and none of them are interested even after us making the Super Bowl last year. So we are going to try to bring Grant Delpit back on like a 2-year deal. The Seahawks are trying to go for him. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose him. If we do, we'll just replace him in the draft. And then we're going to try to get Zach Charbonnet as well, just to try to help out with the run game. We do not get Grant Delpit, but I do think we'll get Zach Charbonnet, and then we're also going to have to try to draft a tackle. We need to get a tackle and a safety in the draft this year. And we also signed Jordan Poyer last year, who's not here anymore, so we actually need multiple safeties. So I may have messed up. But I would have hated if Zach Zinter had to start in the offensive line this year. But in a perfect world, we will get a tackle in the first round. That'll be our long-term right tackle, because I don't think Baptiste is going to do it. We did get Charbonnet, so now we kind of have like a double-edged sword between him and Neal. So hopefully that'll help out in the run game just a little bit. And our receiving core looks very good. And I didn't really think about it. We can just start Martin Emerson at safety if we need to, but I do want to try to make sure we get at least one safety. If we can't, we can do what we did last year and just sign some old head out of free agency, because we also need a D-tackle pretty bad. And we also don't have our second round pick. So we're just going to stick and pick where we are. We're going to sim to our pick and see if hopefully a decent enough tackle will fall to us. And in the first round, we're going to be going with Jacob Collins, a 6'8", 21-year-old right tackle out of Oklahoma. He's around 1-2 talent with great strength, A, awareness, A, run block power, A, stamina, B, run block, B, impact blocking. Not the best pass blocker. That does worry me a little bit. Maybe we go with somebody like Anthony Sermons instead, who's also only 21 years old, doesn't have as good of strength, but is a very good pass blocker. And I think with how pass heavy we have been, I do think Anthony Sermons is actually going to end up being the pick. So he's going to be who we take here at pick number 31. Ranked 46 in true value, not the best, but I'm banking on him having a dev trait, which he does. Only 84 strength worries me a little bit. He's also only 308 pounds, but I do think that is a pretty good pick nonetheless. And then we didn't have a second round pick, of course, so we're up again in the third round here. And there really just isn't a single draftable safety. However, I am taking this guy a little early, but Isaiah Bacon is only 21 years old. He has great strength, B, block shedding, A, play rec. Nothing too crazy, but this guy could have a dev trait and actually be pretty decent. So I am going to reach on Isaiah Bacon here in the third round. And he was ranked 47 in true value. Of course, he only has normal dev, because why would he have a dev trait whenever he was that much better than where he got drafted at? I don't know, but I think that's a good pick nonetheless. We'll let the CPU have the rest of the draft. Maybe they'll take a safety. There literally was no good safeties on the board that I was looking at. So but we got a 73 overall right tackle in the first round who's going to be a day one starter, a 73 overall D tackle in the third round who's also going to be a day one starter. CPU got us a 70 overall corner. I mean, this actually could be pretty helpful. We need depth at corner because we're probably going to be playing Martin Emerson at safety. And then we're probably going to have to sign a safety out of free agency once again. But I mean, hey, we made the Super Bowl last year with Jordan Poyer. So, and you know what? We'll actually go ahead and sign Justin Simmons out of free agency here. Will Hernandez is also an available free agent. I will definitely take him. And now this is what the roster is looking like going into year number 3, coming off of a Super Bowl appearance. Jackson Dart balled out. We got 2 running backs now. Really good receiving core, really young receiving core for Jackson Dart to work with. Evans went up to star last year, and he has a good offensive line as well. The defense has consistently played pretty good. We also brought in Melifonwu out of free agency as well. So we pretty much filled out every hole, and Bacon's going to get to be a starter as a rookie. After making it a Super Bowl appearance last year, and I feel like we made the roster even better, we're going to set the season goal to win the Super Bowl. I feel like it's only fair. And then we need to scout some safeties. I think we're going to go with corner and safety. Who knows how much longer Denzel Ward's going to stick around. But I mainly just care about scouting some safeties because we just have to keep on signing old players right before the seasons get started. But let's get into year number 3 and let's check in with the team at the midseason. We're sitting at 4-2 at this midseason. We are coming off a loss against the Chiefs. I guess they got their revenge from the AFC Championship last year. We do once again have the first defense and points allowed. The offense is not playing too crazy right now. But Jackson Dart's thrown 1,600 passing yards, 12 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. We'd love to see that. Honestly, I think we go back to Neal as the #1 back. I mean, Charbonnet is just, I mean, he has a decent amount of touchdowns, but we could also just use Charbonnet as the power back and he'll get touchdowns anyways, and then Neal will be getting more carries. That's probably what we'll do. And Rogan already has 8 touchdowns on the season. Wow. But this is what I'm really curious in. How is the pass rush doing? Oh my goodness. Myles Garrett has 12 sacks through 6 games. That is insane. But let's see what players we need to re-sign here this mid-season. We need to bring back Denzel Ward, Mike Hall, JOK, Jerry Jeudy, Zach Charbonnet. That's pretty much it. We have a lot of money, so there's really no reason we should lose any of these guys. I'll bring back Denzel Ward for 2 years. I'll give him 2 years, $42 million, and that's enough to bring him back. Mike Hall's not interested in the team, so I'll make sure that we get him right and make sure he's swayed to come over here. We'll give him 4 years, $120 million. And he resigns. I'm going to move JOK to middle linebacker before we pay him, because if I don't, it's going to make me pay him like he's a pass rusher. But JOK is also not interested, so we'll make sure we give him a decent amount of money. We're going to offer him 4 years, $70 million. And he does not resign. We'll try to get him back at the end of the year. And then we're going to try to get Jerry Jeudy back on a 3-year, $40 million contract. And that's enough to get him back. And then I think we'll come back to the rest of these at the end of the season. But let's go ahead and make Neal the #1 back. I do think he was doing better than Zach Charbonnet was. Corner is a strength of the class, but I'm going to set our focus position to safety because we really need a safety. And then I can focus scout some corners at week 13. But let's go ahead and get to the end of year 3. We were the 1 seed last year and made the Super Bowl. Let's see what we can do this season. Yeah, so after week 9 against the Seahawks, we were 6-2, and then we lost 5 games in a row to fall to 6-7, and then went 2-2 to finish the year, to finish 8-9. Wow, that is not good. I guess let's take a look at these stats, see if we can figure out what the problem was. I'm guessing it was running back. Jackson Dart definitely took a step back this season, but this is still very good numbers. 4,400 yards, 38 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. And yeah, none of our running backs really did much. We are going to need to get like a true #1 running back. But Glenn Williamson with a good year, 1,200 yards, 4 touchdowns. Rogan with another crazy year, 1,100 yards, 17 touchdowns. 900 yards out of Evans, 10 touchdowns. And Jerry Jeudy didn't get too involved this season, but he got over 700 yards and 3 touchdowns. Defensively, Myles Garrett went for 25 sacks, breaking the NFL sack record. We got 11.5 sacks out of Abdul Carter and 8.5 out of Mike Hall. 3 picks out of Martin Emerson, 3 out of Melifonwu, 2 out of Troy Anderson and Greg Newsome, and then 1 out of a few other players. MVP this year is going to go to Josh Allen again. Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Keon Coleman. Defensive Player of the Year, of course, is going to go to Myles Garrett. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to Justin Elfman for the Titans. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Isaiah Bacon. He may have had normal dev, but he's not going to have it anymore, and that's what we need. I also think Rogan could go up to Superstar after the numbers he put up this year, which is what we've been trying to get to happen this whole time. So let's get to the offseason. Let's take a look at the roster, and we just need to have another good free agency and another good draft class, because 8-9 is not going to cut it. Looks like the Bills actually go on to win the Super Bowl against the Eagles here, 24-18. Josh Allen gets his first ring and his first Super Bowl MVP. And Rogan did not go up to Superstar, which is what we wanted. Somehow it goes to Evans. Rogan's season was just so much better than his. It is helpful having a superstar tight end. We got our David Njoku replacement, so I guess that's good. And our receiving core does still look very good. And then defensively, Bacon's going to go straight up to Superstar after winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, and Anderson's going to go up to Superstar as well. Melifonwu also went up to Star Dev, so we could keep him around as a strong safety, and we'll only need to draft 1 safety this season, which will make life a lot easier. But we have $120 million left to bring our guys back. We'll make sure we do that, try to hold on to some of it for free agency and make this team even better for year #4. We have the 5th year for Abdul Carter. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. JOK rejected our last offer. I'm going to lower the years to 3, but I'm going to give him a decent amount more money. We're going to give him 3 years, $57 million. He wants to test out free agency. And $18 million for a tag is less than we were going to pay him this season anyway with the contract we offered. So I will tag JOK for that much. Charbonnet wasn't very good. We're going to let him go. I do want to bring back Melifonwu. He had a pretty good year. I would bring him back for 2 years if he accepts 2 years, $12 million. And he doesn't. We'll try to get a different safety in free agency. That's okay. Justin Simmons will let go. I think we're going to once again let it go of everybody here. And once again have over $100 million to work with in this year's free agency. I just need a good running back. Jahmyr Gibbs always hits free agency at some point. Maybe this is the year. We're just going to have to take a look and make a splash here. And no, there's once again really no running backs. And once again, nobody wants to play for us. What is up with that, man? Now, although most players aren't interested, I do think we should be able to compete for a decent amount of players. We're going to go for Jeremy Chin. We're currently his leading offer. We're going to try to bring in in Jack Campbell. We're also his leading offer. And then we're going to bring in Dominic Pooney to add to the offensive line. And we're his only offer as of right now. So we could get all three of these players. We got Jack Campbell. We got Jeremy Chin. The teams are still not offering for Dominic Pooney, and he signs with us. So we got every player we wanted. I don't know why players are so uninterested in coming here, but sometimes that's just what you got to deal with. And JJ McCarthy is now a Colt. Very interesting. Now, I don't really know what I want to do with the running back situation. We could try to get a new one. We could stick it out with the same guy for one more year and just wait till he continues to develop. We could try to draft somebody, but without me focus scouting any of them, it's going to be hard to tell if they're good or not. And to trade for a good running back in this game, I would have to give up a lot of draft capital. So I think the play is just going to be letting Neal go for it one more year. I almost wonder if it would be worth it to like move Rogan to running back. 99 speed and excel, 98 agility. His carrying is really low, though. That's the only problem. And his ball carrier vision isn't very good either. I don't know. We're probably just going to have to stick it out with this guy for one more year. Unless I'm able to make somewhat of a realistic trade, I just feel like I'm going to have to give up too much value for a running back. I don't know, though. With how good of our defense is, if we can hold on to our first rounder to get a safety and then use like a second and third to get a running back, I think it honestly might be worth it. In real life, I don't think that would be what we need to do at all. But in Madden, running back is just such an important position. So Chuba Hubbard was on the last year of his contract, and we're actually able to get him for our second rounder and our fourth and fifth rounder as well. I think we might have given up a little bit too much, but getting a position as important as running back in this game, and he's going to come in and be our #1 back automatically for at least 2 or 3 years, I think is going to be very valuable. We were able to hold on to our first rounder. We pick at 13. We could get a pretty good safety, and if there's multiple good safeties available, we could even trade back in the draft. And I don't know, there are a lot of round 1 talents. Like, what are the chances that all 6 of the round 1 talents are gone by like the late first round? I wonder what offers we could get for the 13th overall pick to move back. The Eagles are offering us to move back to pick 31. They're going to give us their 3rd rounder for this year and their 1st rounder for next season. I'm going to take a big risk. We're going to pick at 31 instead and just pray that one of these safeties falls to us, because having 2 firsts next year is going to be very helpful, and there are still plenty of safeties left. And I think we're going to go with Stephen Murray, 22 years old out of Auburn, elite strength, a great change of direction, a pursuit, hit power, tackle, and block shedding with B awareness. I think this guy's going to be a dog. We're going to bring in Stephen Murray to the Cleveland Browns. Ranked 19 in true value. Why would he have a dev trait, man? Like, they can't ever just have hidden dev when I make a good pick. When I make a bad pick, they have hidden dev every time. If I make a good pick, nope. You know what? I'm going to take a chance on a running back. He's not going to start this year, but good speed, elite jumping, great strength, a stiff arm, a carrying, a break tackle, a ball carrier vision. Hopefully by the time we're done with Chuba Hubbard, this guy can be a decent enough overall to be the #1 back. And he was ranked 9 in true value. And another normal. I'm giving this guy dev trait. I don't care. I'm giving him star dev. Cry. And then I want to see if there's a single draftable receiver left on the board. We don't really need one right now, but Jerry Jeudy is aging a little bit. So if we could try to get his replacement right now, that would be good. Yeah, there's not a draftable receiver. I think I'm going to trade this pick as well. Giants are offering us their 3rd for next year and a 5th in 2030. I'll go ahead and take that. We'll let the CPU have the rest of this draft. I drafted a top 10, top 20 talent in the 3rd round that didn't have a dev trait, so I'm going to go ahead and give him hidden dev because I think that's more than fair. So the safety we got in the 1st round is going to be a 74 overall. I think that was a pretty good value pick. He doesn't have a dev trait, but maybe we can get lucky and he'll win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I doubt it. But then Overstreet's going to be a 76 overall. I did go ahead and give him hidden dev. I only gave him star, so it's not like I'm giving him anything crazy, but I do think it is more than fair with how good of a pick that was that he has hidden dev. So here's how the roster's looking going into year number 4. We have a very good offensive line, a good tight end, a great receiving core. We brought in Chuba Hubbard to be the #1 back. This offense is very good. And then you look at the defense, and it is just as good. We have an insane defensive line led by Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter. We have very good linebackers, JOK, Jack Campbell, and Boykin, and Anderson. We have a lot of linebackers. And then we brought in Murray. We drafted him this year. We brought in Jeremy Chin in free agency. Our corners are great. I think this rebuild has been a success so far. We just need to try to make another Super Bowl push this year now that our roster is as good as it is while we're still on Jackson Dart's rookie deal. You know, we did only go 8-9 last season, so I'll just set the goal this year to be to make the playoffs, though I do think we are pretty close to being a Super Bowl roster. And what do I even scout this season? I do want to try to get another receiver here pretty soon. I think we could go wide receiver corner. You can never go wrong with scouting corners, and I really want to get another receiver drafted as soon as possible. So that's going to be our tier 3 scout, and we're ready to hop into year number 4. Let's get to the midseason and check in with how the team's doing. We are once again very good at the midseason, sitting at 5-1 with the #1 scoring offense. And the one time our offense is this good, our defense can't be good. Weirdly enough, we have the 7th defense in pass yards allowed and the 6th defense in rush yards allowed. but the 22nd offense in points allowed. I don't know what's up with that. But Jackson Dart, almost 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions already. And Chuba Hubbard not getting many carries, but averaging 4 yards a carry when he's on the field, and he has 5 touchdowns. And we're not getting as many sacks this season, so I'm guessing that's where like the defensive stuff's coming from. I don't really know. At least our offense is good this year. Let's see what players we need to re-sign here at this midseason. Jackson Dart's contract might be here. We need to re-sign Mitchell Evans. We need to re-sign Jackson Dart. We need to re-sign JOK, Ike Ekwonu, Martin Emerson, Troy Anderson. There's a decent amount of important players here that we need to get back. Number one priority is going to be our franchise quarterback, Jackson Dart, who it's only asking me to pay $17 million a year. Like, am I going to take advantage of how bad this game is? A little bit, but not that much. The thing is, I want to keep it realistic with his contract, but at the same time, other teams and franchise, like the CPU-led teams, get away with paying their quarterbacks this much money, so I'm kind of putting myself at a disadvantage. But we're going to give Jackson Dart $40 million a year because I want to keep it a little bit realistic, and he's of course going to resign. And then Mitchell Evans we'll bring back on a 3-year deal worth $28 million. JOK is actually interested now, so we're going to bring him back on a 3-year deal worth $48 million. And then we'll get Ike Ekwonu on a 3-year deal as well, worth $65 million, and that's probably going to be all we can afford to go for at the midseason, but I think the rest of these players we kind of have replacements for, so I think we should be all right. Wide receiver and corner are both the strength of the class, but I'm going to set the focus position to wide receiver, and then I'll try to focus scout as many corners as I can at week 13. But let's get to the end of the season. Hopefully, we don't fall off a cliff this year and we find ourselves in the playoffs. And we finish year number 4, 13-4, find ourselves as the number 1 seed in the AFC once again. Jackson Dart led the league in passing yards, threw over 5,000, threw 51 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions. What an insane season out of Jackson Dart. Chuba Hubbard was great too, got over 1,100 yards, averaged 4.4 per carry and 12 touchdowns. Rogan balled out with almost 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1,100 out of Williamson, 1,100 out of Jerry Jeudy, and 1,000 out of Mitchell Evans. We've consistently had like 4,000 yards as receivers over and over again. And then defensively, Myles Garrett with 19.5 sacks, 9 out of Abdul Carter and 7 out of Isaiah Bacon. 3 picks out of Greg Newsome, 2 out of Jeremy Chandler. Then we got 1 out of a decent amount of players. Jackson Dart is going to be the season MVP. Let's go, man. Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Rashee Rice. Defensive Player of the Year is going to go to Myles Garrett once again. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Brandon Lincoln. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Kareem Hall. We came in 4th with Stephen Murray. I think he'll develop pretty fine. We should be all right. But first, let's see who we're going to be taking on here in the divisional round. Jackson Dart just won a MVP for the Cleveland Browns. Well, what a crazy sentence to say. Oh, and we get to take on the Dolphins in the divisional round. That is free. Let's just get to the AFC Championship. All right, I may have been asking for that. What happened, man? Why did we lose to the Dolphins? We were a higher overall, like by a lot. We were at least 3 overalls higher than them. Jackson Dart threw 2 picks after throwing over 50 touchdowns and only 9 interceptions on the season. Chuba Hubbard was pretty good on the ground. Oh, we got sacked 4 times. That's cool. And we got no sacks with Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter. Thanks, Madden Simulation. This game's so accurate. This game is insanely accurate. Amazing game. Year 5, here we come. And it's looking like the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl against the Colts, who had JJ McCarthy. Byron Young is going to be your Super Bowl MVP. Even though we didn't win a playoff game this year, Jackson Dart just won MVP and should have went up to Superstar Dev, which he does. And Evans is actually going to go up to X Factor. I don't know why he's been getting every dev up over our receivers, but I'm not going to complain about it. And then I don't think we got any dev ups on the defensive side of the ball, but that doesn't bother me because this defense is just insane already. Damn, that should have been our year, man. That really should have been our year. Let's get into these re-signings. We got to go back. We got $15 million to work with to re-sign any of these players that are here. We have the 5th year for Glenn Williamson. $30 million is just too much. I'm not going to pick that up. How much does Chuba Hubbard want? He only wants $4 million a year. He regressed down to an 82 overall, man. Yeah, we're going to have to move on from Chuba Hubbard. I want Tevin Jenkins back. Honestly, we can't afford it. And with our cap situation, I'm not going to be re-signing a guard whenever I could probably just draft one. I actually think we're going to have to let go of like everybody here. Yeah, we're definitely going to take a little bit of a hit this season. I should have honestly just paid Jackson Dart what the game wanted me to, but that wouldn't be realistic for the video. It's just really weird because it does put you at a disadvantage because all the CPU teams are paying their quarterbacks that. But we need to get a running back once again. We did draft one last year. I guess he could be the starter. Brandon Dickerson is available. After losing Tevin Jenkins, that could be crazy. We're going to try to see if we can bring Tevin Jenkins back. Nobody else is offering for him right now. All right, he's declined us 3 times and still has no other offers. So let's just go ahead and let's send him to the draft. And if he doesn't sign back, we can always get a guard in the draft. There wasn't really anybody else in free agency that I wanted to go for. I guess we're going to have to give that running back that we drafted last year a chance to be the starter. It does suck that we traded all that capital for Chuba Hubbard just to get 1 year out of him. Running backs regress way too fast in this game, but we only have 1 million, so I do think we got Tevin Jenkins back, fortunately. Yeah, so that's good. We kept the offensive line together. The offense still looks great. We're gonna have to give Overstreet a chance as a number 1 back, I guess, this season. We're just gonna have to see how that's gonna go. And then, dude, the defense still looks good. Like, do we just do what we did last year, but just get an even better running back this time? Like, would that be really stupid? We really don't have the money to be doing that. I don't know. It just sucks because I don't really know what contracts are coming up. Oh yeah, we were going to get a receiver this year, and we have 2 first-round picks. I might trade one of these first-round picks back and get more capital for next year, honestly. But there's a 21-year-old round 1 talent receiver available in Bernard Hurst. 21 years old out of Florida State, great strength, good speed, not the craziest physicals, but a ball carrier vision, break tackle, injury, juke move, kick return, and a spin move. Okay, hear me out. I'm going to draft this guy. He's going to be like a 75, 76 overall receiver, and we're going to move him to running back, and he's going to be like an 80 overall, and this is going to be our new starting running back. Trust me, it's going to work. Ranked 14 in true value, hidden dev, and he's actually going to be our running back. I know honestly, maybe I don't trade this first round pick back. I get another receiver, and the receiver we draft this year is going to be our future Jerry Jeudy replacement, and then that guy's going to be our running back. I think we're cooking. Another round 1 talent, deep threat, 22 years old out of USF, elite speed, elite excel, kind of similar to the guy we drafted a few years ago with 99 speed, 99 excel, ranked 13 in true value, 97 speed, 96 excel, 2 very good picks there in the first round. It just sucks because I don't know what I need to draft. I think I'm going to trade this pick back for more capital next year, honestly. The more picks we can get next year, the more prepared we can be next year. So we're going to trade for the Panthers second rounder next year, and then we're going to get a 4th round pick from them this season. And then we have 2 picks in the 3rd round. You know what? This guard looks pretty good. Let's take Jonathan Bartel here with our first pick in the 3rd round. 85 in true value, not terrible, but has hidden dev. He won't be a starter this year, but the more depth we can add to the offensive line, the more okay it'll be once we start losing offensive linemen to free agency. And then we'll go ahead and go with Derek Fowler, a 22-year-old linebacker here with great speed, great agility, B-man, A-zone, A-awareness. He looks pretty good. Another player that might not do much here in his rookie season, but could be valuable down the line. Ranked 76 in true value. Only normal dev. Doesn't bother me too much. I am very curious to see what overall that receiver is going to be at running back. So Bernard Hurst is a 76 overall at receiver, but he has 91 speed, 90 excel, 90 agility, 85 jumping, 94 change of direction, 83 ball carrier vision, good juke, good spin, not the highest carrying, but he is a rookie. I genuinely think he could be an 80 plus overall running back. And he's only a 78, but he's going to be a rookie. He's going to develop like crazy. We are going to make him the number 1 back and see what we can do here. And we got a 76 overall receiver, 71 overall guard, a 72 overall middle linebacker. Not the best draft, but I will definitely take it. I'm sorry, Overstreet, but Hurst just has more upside. We're going to be starting him as a number 1 back. Receiving core looks good. We have a replacement for Jerry Jeudy whenever that time comes. The offensive line looked good. We added some more depth in the draft this year. We still have Evans, who's up to X Factor now. Defense looks good. I know it looks like we have a hole at linebacker, but it's just because Jack Gamble's listed at middle linebacker, so he'll obviously be a starting sub linebacker. Defensive line still looks crazy. Secondary still looks very good. So let's go ahead and get year 5 started. It does normally take a little bit for running backs to develop, and they don't really start putting up good numbers, so they do fully develop. So if our rookie running back doesn't have the best season, I think we just need to be patient and give it time. He's only 21 years old. We're going to set our season goal to win the Super Bowl. We got the 1 seed last year. We're going to try to run it back, but actually get a playoff win this time around. And then our corners are aging and getting thinner by the minute, so we definitely need to scout some corners. And let's get year 5 underway and get to the midseason. And we are off to a hot start once again, sitting at 6-1. Offense isn't doing anything too crazy, but we once again have the first defense when it comes to points allowed. Jackson Dart's thrown 13 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. Bro, I made Hurst the starting running back, and Overstreet is getting all the carries, man. I mean, he's averaging 4.4 per carry, so I'm actually just going to leave it. Jerry Jeudy with almost 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, over 400 out of Williamson for 5 touchdowns. Dude, are you kidding me? What have we played? 7 games, and Myles Garrett has almost 14 sacks and 8.5 out of Abdul Carter. Holy Christ. I don't know how the cap situation's looking, but let's see who's ready to re-sign this midseason. We have $23 million, and we have to bring back Abdul Carter, Brenton Rogan. Oh boy, it's about to get scary. So we're definitely going to lose Denzel Ward and Jeremy Chin. We're probably going to lose Williamson and Rogan because we need to bring back Abdul Carter. We're going to offer him 3 years, $72 million. And he just doesn't accept, even though he's interested and I offered him what he wanted. I think I'm going to sim 1 week ahead and probably try to get him back. And then maybe at the end of the season, we can restructure some deals, try to re-sign the rest of the players. And then if Overstreet keeps playing good at running back, we can take the receiver we moved to running back and move him back to receiver maybe. I think we'll be okay, hopefully. Let's sim 1 week and let's try to get Abdul Carter back. All right, cool. We lose to the Vikings, whatever. We sign Abdul Carter to a 5-year, $120 million deal. And in year number 5, we once again go 13-4 and once again get the number 1 seed in the AFC. So we have either gotten the number 1 seed in the AFC or missed the playoffs in every year of this rebuild. One of them was the very first year where we had Russell Wilson as a starting quarterback, so I don't know how much that counts. But we finished with the #1 scoring offense and the #2 scoring defense. That is insane. No 5,000 passing yard season for Jackson Dart this year, but he threw just under 4,500, threw 44 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. He has continued to play great. And Overstreet was pretty good as a #1 back. We honestly might move Hurst back to receiver next season because we're going to need it. Averaged just under 4 yards per carry. He didn't get many carries, but almost 900 yards and got in the end zone 12 times. Jerry Jeudy with almost 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1,100 yards out of Rogan, 8 touchdowns, 1,000 out of Williamson, and 14 touchdowns. And then defensively, we got 20 sacks out of Myles Garrett, 17.5 out of Abdul Carter, and 11 out of Mike Hall. I'm glad we brought back Abdul Carter because him and Myles Garrett on the same defensive line is just broken. 6 interceptions out of Denzel Ward, and unfortunately probably his last year as a Cleveland Brown. 4 picks out of Jack Campbell, 3 out of JOK, 2 out of Jeremy Chin, and then 1 out of Newsome, Tucker, and Murray. MVP goes to Joe Burrow. We came in 5th with Jackson Dart. We finally won a Coach of the Year. We haven't won it any of these other years. We got the 1 seed. Offensive Player of the Year goes to T. Higgins. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Josh Hines Allen. It did not go to Myles Garrett. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to Austin Clements for the Jets. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Shaquille Steeples for the Raiders. Let's go ahead. Let's sim to the divisional round and see who we're going to be taking on after our bye in the playoffs. And we have to go against the Bengals, who had the Offensive Player of the Year in T. Higgins. They got 99 overall Jamar Chase, 99 overall Joe Burrow. Had the 3rd scoring offense, but their defense was really bad this year. With us basically having the best offense and defense in the league, when we go against a team like this with a bad defense, we really should kind of blow them out. But the Bengals offense was really good this year. So let's just see. Let's sim to the AFC Championship. Let's not lose this time, please. So you mean to tell me we have the #1 scoring offense and we're going against the 20th defense when it comes to points allowed and we can only put up 17 points? This game is just so garbage, man. We're halfway done with the rebuild. We have 1 Super Bowl appearance and 0 Super Bowl wins. Quick little break in the video to let you know that if you subscribe right now, you could have a chance to win a free NFL jersey. All you have to do is be subscribed to the channel, take a screenshot and send it to me on Instagram, which will be at the top of the screen right now. There will also be a link in the description you can click on. And if you send me a screenshot on Instagram of you being one of the first 1,000 subscribers to the channel, you'll be entered into a giveaway for a free NFL jersey, which we will announce once we hit 1,000 subscribers, and that is it. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure I get that screenshot on Instagram, and also leave a like on the video because it does help out a lot. But let's get back to the video. And the Broncos win the Super Bowl against the Cowboys. These two teams are making a Super Bowl before us. That's just great! And we are about to lose a lot of players here to free agency. It's gonna start getting sketchy. But Jackson Dart's gonna go up to X Factor. Hurst is probably gonna go back to receiver after this season. Offensive line still looks great. Abdul Carter is going to go up to X Factor. We're probably going to lose Denzel Ward and Jeremy Chin. It's going to get really sketchy this season. I'm going to tell you that much. We have -12 million. So let's just sim to free agency. We'll see what players we lose. We should have like a little bit of money once we get to free agency to try to fill out some of the holes. We have 18 million. Let's take a look at the roster now. We dropped down to an 85 overall. We lost our center. We lost a couple receivers. We'll move Hurst back out there, maybe even draft another one. But we did draft a guard last year who's a 74 overall at center. So if we don't draft a center, it won't be the end of the world. And I think the offense will be okay. And then we lost Denzel Ward and Jeremy Chin on defense, but I want to say that that is it. So let's spend this 18 million we have wisely in free agency. And I actually think we're going to use it to bring back Raymond Franklin. We're not going to start our guard at center. I'd rather keep him around for whenever we lose one of our guards and he can start there. I liked Raymond Franklin as a center. We're going to go ahead. I was going to say we're going to go ahead and bring him back, but for whatever reason, we're the only team with a full grain offer and he goes to the Raiders instead. Yay! 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 Or I'm sorry, he went to the Panthers instead. So I guess we're just going to try to bring back Denzel Ward and Jeremy Chin, both on short-term deals, try to see if they'll stick around. And they do. I don't know what's going on anymore, man. Why even put offer meters there, man? Like, why show how good of an offer is for each team if I'm going to be the only fully green one and they're not going to sign with me? What is up with that? Now, corner was a strength of this draft class, and even though we did get Denzel Ward back, we'll probably only have him for one more season. Let me go ahead and move Hurst back to receiver before I forget. The whole Hurst at running back project did not go the way I expected it to, but in a good way. So the receiving core is definitely going to be a little weak to start this season. We are going to have to start Bartell at center, but I don't think it's the end of the world, and we can definitely draft another receiver, and then we'll try to get a corner at some point. I'm assuming there will be one good one that'll probably fall pretty late that we can draft. So let's get into the draft. Let's see what we can do, man. So yeah, there is actually a lot of good corners. I think the play is going to be trading this pick back a little bit into the second round because we'll probably get one of the corners. We could build some extra capital for next year. I don't know, man. There are multiple teams offering a first and a second for next year. You know what? We're going to trade this pick down to the Raiders for their first and second next year. I know I wanted to pick a little early in the second round. I'm just going to pray one of those corner falls to the late second round. If they don't, we can replace it next season. And actually, I forgot we have 2 second-round picks anyway, so we should be just fine. And we are still going to get a round 1 talent corner. He is 23 years old. He might have normal dev, but elite strength, great speed, A press, B zone, B tackle, A block shedding. I think it looks pretty good. And he's 6'2", 200 pounds, top 10 player in the class, and he has hidden dev. That's a good pick, and he won't have to do much here in his rookie season. I honestly think I'm going to trade this pick back as well because I don't know what to do. And you know what? The Texans are going to offer us a second rounder for 2032. I'm going to go ahead and accept that. And I think we're going to let the CPU just have the rest of this draft because I'm kind of lost at what to do. And the corner we got in the second round is a 76 overall. You love to see that. And then yeah, I guess this draft class was just buns because we didn't get anybody else valuable after that. But we did build a lot of extra draft capital for next season. And we got an extra second for the year after as well. But we're going to need our defense to step up big time this season after how much we lost on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, this offense just looks much weaker than we are used to. The defense still looks fantastic though. Let's go ahead and get year 6 started. Even after taking those hits to the offense, we started the season off 5-0. We do lose to the Chargers, but coming off the bye, sit at 5-1 at the midseason with the first scoring offense and the 13th defense in points allowed. I will take that. I'm glad the offense is still playing good. Jackson Dart is almost 20 touchdowns, so only 6 interceptions. Overstreet's continuing to do good as a number 1 back. Hurst is actually doing pretty good as a receiver as well. And Abdul Carter already has 7.5 sacks on the season. Re-signing him was a very good decision. But yeah, let's see who we have to re-sign now. It's just probably going to keep getting sketchier and sketchier. We have $51 million to re-sign Isaiah Bacon, Anthony Sermons, Jawan Tucker, Jack Campbell. Honestly, not as bad as last season. Actually, yeah, we still have Jerry Jeudy and a couple other guys. Yeah, who do we want to bring back the most out of this bunch? Probably Isaiah Bacon, who's not interested in the team. So I'll offer him 3 years, $49.5 million, and he does not accept. So we'll try to bring back Anthony Sermons. We'll give him a 4-year deal worth $72 million, and he does resign. Honestly, I think we're just going to come back at the end of the season and take a look at these and see who we want to bring back, because I don't know what to do right now. Let's just go ahead. Let's get to the end of year 6. Maybe we'll go 13-4 again and get another 1 seed, and hopefully not losing the divisional this time around. Let's find out. And instead of going 13-4, we actually go 14-3 this season with the number 1 scoring offense again and a top 5 scoring defense. Jackson Dart just had the most insane season I think I've ever had in franchise, throwing almost 5,200 yards, 56 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Oh my lord. Overstreet was great as a number 1 back, got over 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns. Hurst went for 1,400 yards and 22 touchdowns. He could win Offensive Player of the Year and go up to Superstar. Maybe we should have never considered moving him to running back. He proved us wrong. 1,100 yards out of Evans, 9 touchdowns, 1,100 out of Jeudy, 8 touchdowns, and 1,000 yards out of Burrow and 13 touchdowns for him. And defensively, we had 15 sacks out of Abdul Carter, 13.5 out of Myles Garrett, and 11 out of Mike Hall. 4 picks out of Stephen Murray, 3 out of Jawan Tucker, 3 out of Denzel Ward, 3 out of Jeremy Chin, and then 2 out of JOK and Greg Newsome. Jackson Dart had to have won MVP, right? Jackson Dart gets his second MVP of the video. We do not win Coach of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Josh Downs. We came in second place with Denard Hurst with that season. What did Josh Downs do, bro? Defensive Player of the Year is going to go to Chris Falk for the Bills. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Skylar Graham for the Ravens. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Matthew Huff for the Chargers. We got to go see what Josh Downs did. 5,800 yards, 22 touchdowns. Yeah, that'll do it. Jesus. I do still think that we should get a dev up for what we did anyway, so we should be fine. Let's see who we're taking on in the divisional. Hopefully somebody we can actually beat this time around. And we're going against the Raiders, who went 9-8. Their roster's okay, but we are just so much of a better team than the Raiders. We're a higher overall. We're playing at home. We won 5 more games in the regular season. Can we please just make the AFC Championship here? And we do. We're going to beat the Raiders by 12 points to take on the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. They had the 15th scoring offense, the 7th scoring defense. Another team that I think we're better than. They do have a higher overall team, but we won 4 more games in the regular season playing at home. I genuinely think we're a better team than the Chiefs right now. Can we please make another Super Bowl and get redemption? And we are back in the Super Bowl going against the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, a 98 overall. They drafted Ashton Jeanty. He's a 98 overall. Except they only had the 16th scoring offense and the 13th scoring defense on the year, so I do think we should be able to win this Super Bowl. Let's take a look at the roster and see if we got any of those dev ups that I thought we did. And yes, we did. Hurst goes up to Superstar. Overstreet goes up to Superstar as well. Murray finally gets a dev up, goes up to Star. He's going to develop like crazy. The corner we drafted this year has Superstar. Okay, even though we keep losing players to free agency, it's looking like everything's going to be okay. We're going to hop and play another drive of this Super Bowl. Hopefully we can win this time around. We're 3 overalls higher. The Bears went 9-8. I don't even know how they're in the Super Bowl. I feel like we should pretty easily handle business here. And we're going to start off with the ball on offense. I'm going to hop in and play the opening drive. We no longer have a 99 speed receiver, unfortunately, but we do have Overstreet at running back. We finally have a good running back. So let's just give him the ball here on first down and see what happens. Yo, how is my tight end that slow that he can't get in front of me and block there? Oh, there is so much room here. Hit a spin. Hit a juke. Oh, that would have been nasty if he was able to get that juke off. But we do pick up the first down, fortunately. I'm just going to continue to play smart football, take my check downs, run the ball, throw some screens. You know what I'm saying. Good catch by Evans. Get upfield. We're going to pick up 8 on that first down. It looks like we're cooking here on the opening drive. Let's see if Overstreet can get 2 and pick up this first down here. And no, that was actually very good defense, unfortunately. We need this first down here. I'm just going to run it again. Just run it right at him. Oh, there's a lot of space here. Thought we could maybe get in the end zone there, but we do pick up the first down, and that's what matters the most. You guys can't tell, I am a little bit scared to throw the ball. I kind of think Hurst on this flat route might just be free. Okay, I do wish Jackson Dart threw a better ball there, but we do pick up 3 yards, so I will take that. I actually think we could get a lot of room here on this inside zone if we can get some second-level blocks, which we do. And that's going to be another first down. We're cooking on the opening drive. We are getting into the red zone, though, which is where I begin to struggle. So there is a good chance it starts getting sketchy here. What is going on? It said hold snap to hand off the ball. I held snap, and Jackson Dart had the ball in his hands. I don't know what's going on here. I think Burrow on this corner route could be wide open. If not, I think Evans on this little out will be open. Evans is open. Oh, Evans, you got to break that tackle. You have to break that. That leaves us at a 3rd and 3. I do not want to come out in 5 wide because I honestly kind of want to run the ball, but it kind of looks like they're ready for this. All right, let's cook. He's wide open. Hold on to the ball. Thank you. Thank you. I just got PTSD from the last Super Bowl. Can we punch this in here, please? Good juke. Get in there. We're on the board first in the Super Bowl. We're going to take a 7-0 lead. We just need our defense to come in clutch here. They get a stop on the Bears opening drive. We get down the field, go up 10-0. We get another stop, get another easy touchdown. We make it 17-0. Bears do finally score a touchdown late in the second quarter, cut it 17-7. We get a field goal to go up 20-7, and then they get a field goal to cut it 20-10. We're a little caught up now. Offense is back on the field. It gets down and it gets another touchdown. That's looking like this is about all she wrote. We have a 10-point lead at the 2-minute warning. Bears actually did try to make a bit of a comeback there. But the Cleveland Browns are Super Bowl champions. I don't know what year it is. I think it's like 2031 or something. No, it's 2030. The Cleveland Browns are 2030 Super Bowl champions. So Browns, just sit patient. You got 5 years of waiting. And your 2030 Super Bowl MVP is Nasir Overstreet. I did not expect that. Jackson Dart already has 2 regular season MVPs. He can be okay with handing the Super Bowl MVP to the running back for this one. And we have $73 million, so hopefully we can bring back all the players that we had to re-sign at the midseason here. Starting with Isaiah Bacon, who turned us down. So we're going to give him a 4-year $72 million offer, and that's enough to get him back. Juwan Tucker, I think we can let go. We have a decent amount of depth at corner, and he's not even interested. I'd like to bring back Jack Campbell for another year. This is a lot of money for a 31-year-old linebacker. 2 years, 24, that's not too bad. We'll bring him back. Dalvin Boykin, I think we can let go. I'd like to bring back Greg Newsome. He's not asking for much money. I want to get him on like a 2-year deal that's pretty cheap, so we'll give him 2 years, $16 million. And he wants to play for a new team next year. I think we could get him back in free agency, or maybe there'll be an even better corner option. I want to get Pooney back as well. We'll try to get him back on a 2-year deal. We'll offer him 2 years, $41 million, and he's also not interested in re-signing. That sucks. We're not going to pick up a $19 million 5th year for Stephen Murray. That's a lot of money. Denzel Ward's not asking for much at all. I'll give him 1 year, $8 million happily. Honestly, maybe we don't even need to get a corner in this year's free agency. And then, it does suck, but I do think we're going to have to let Jerry Jeudy go. We got him his ring. He was great for us, but we just don't need to be re-signing him now that he's 32. And then we'll get Tevin Jenkins back on a 1-year deal worth about $12 million. So that's going to leave us about $25 million to work with here in free agency. Maybe bring back a couple of the players we missed out on. Maybe get upgrades potentially. Let's just find out. So we need to get a center because Bartell's going to be back at guard now that we lost Pooney. We could definitely use one more receiver. We could do that either through the draft or here in free agency. Maybe we do bring back Jerry Jeudy, and he'll go from the receiver 1 to the receiver 3. And then, honestly, I think we might be fine on defense. Did Myles Garrett retire? Yo, that's so bad. Myles Garrett just retired. Oh, that's so bad. I didn't even notice. Oh, no. All right, well, let's see what we could do here, I guess. So in free agency, we're going to try to bring in Terrion Arnold to be Greg Newsome's replacement. We're going to bring in Nolan Smith to be Myles Garrett replacement, which sucks. We might not even get him, but we'll see. And then we'll bring in Joe Tittman, who we probably won't get. I'm just trying to get like a Band-Aid center in case we don't get one in the draft. But we should get Terrion Arnold. Let's send these offers through. We got Terrion Arnold and Nolan Smith, which I did not expect to happen in the first wave. And then I doubt we'll get Joe Tittman, but who knows if other teams will even offer for him. We'll just go ahead and send him to the draft and find out. I genuinely have no idea what will happen there. I am glad we got Nolan Smith, though, because we could potentially draft a pass rusher this year. and they won't have to start yet, or we could have Nolan Smith for a year and draft one next season. We have 2 firsts and 2 second-round picks in this year's draft. Don't forget that. We have a lot of draft picks, actually. And we actually did get Joe Tippmann, so the offensive line looks great. I did kind of forget to get a receiver. We could probably get one in the draft, though. And I think if we do get a receiver in the draft, we are pretty much fine once I move Nolan Smith down to right end. I do think it would be a good idea to probably get a younger corner because we do have Terrion Arnold and especially Denzel Ward both being on the older side. But other than that, the team looks really good. So I think we try to get a receiver in the draft, maybe try to get a corner in the draft, and then we'll see what we want to do from there. So let's hop into the draft and see what we can do here. So we're picking at 25 and 32. There's a decent amount of round 1 talent receivers. A couple of them projected to go later. I wouldn't hate taking Justin Seawright at the very end of the first round because we'll get him at 32 and then we'll also have the 5th-year option for him as well. I think we go corner with our first pick. And I think the best corner to me is going to be Malachi Bone. He's 21 years old, great speed, elite jumping, good excel, B press, A man, A catching, B zone. I think he's going to be pretty good. He won't have to do much here in his first season. So let's go with Malachi Bone in the first round. Ranked 3 in true value, hidden dev, 94 speed, 91 excel. Wow, that was a really good pick. And then we'll take that receiver off the board here at pick 32. Justin Seawright, 22 years old, out of USC. Elite jumping, A spec catch, A catch in traffic, A catching, B release, B run block. He looks pretty good. He'll be a starter day 1. Ranked 7 in true value and another hidden dev. So we have 2 top 10 prospects added to the team this year. And we still have 2 picks left here in the second round. And you know, Eric Moore doesn't look insane, but if he could sit behind Nolan Smith and we could have a winning season, he could get good morale. By the time he comes in as a starter, he has B play rec, B finesse moves, B awareness, B tackle. I think he could be pretty decent. So we're going to take a chance on Eric Moore in the second round. Yikes, ranked 149 in true value. That was a really bad pick. Okay, let's forget that ever happened. And then we still have Jeremy Chin as well. Maybe we try to get a safety here. A hit power, A block shedding, A tackle. Yeah, I'll take that. Ranked 29 in true value, only normal dev. He's not going to be a starter anyway, so that's okay. And I definitely think we need to try to take an interior offensive lineman here because all of ours need to be re-signed soon, and they're all older. You know, I can't tell if this guy sucks or is good, so we're going to take him just to find out. Evan Richmond, ranked 11 in true value. So we basically got 3 top 10 prospects in this year's draft. Wow. And then the CPU has plenty of draft picks to work with. Let's get to the draft recap, see how that draft went. This has been a pretty successful rebuild. I feel like I've done a pretty good job. We got a 78 overall corner in the first round. We got a 76 overall receiver. This pass rusher sucks. Let's ignore that. We got a 74 overall safety, a 75 overall center. So it kind of just looked like the draft class wasn't too crazy, but out of the best players, we got a decent amount of them, which is exactly what you want to see. So the roster is kind of reaching a point where it just looks different and different every single year, but Overstreet was great as a #1 back. Hurst had a great season. Seawright's going to be a starting receiver as a rookie. We've continued to have a great offensive line for Jackson Dart to work with. Evans is sitting at a 90 overall X factor. We brought in Nolan Smith to replace Myles Garrett, and our linebackers and our secondary are still both very good. I think we're in for another great season here, honestly. Season goal is obviously going to be to win the Super Bowl. We're going to try to go to back-to-back here in year number 7. And then for scouts, we're going to try to find our Myles Garrett / Nolan Smith replacement, and we're going to be scouting some pass rushers. But I think we've missed the playoffs twice this entire video, and one of them was the very first season. And I want to say every other season we have been the 1 seed in the AFC. So let's get to the midseason, see if we can start off hot once again. And yeah, hopefully we can go back-to-back here in year number 7. And we actually do not get off to a hot start this season. We currently sit at 3-3, and we have to go against the 7-0 Baltimore Ravens in week 8. We do have a pretty good offense. Our defense took a pretty big hit just from losing Myles Garrett. Jackson's Dart still putting up great numbers, 13 touchdowns to only 1 interception. Overstreet has taken a step back this season, which is not what you want to see, but he's still young and he'll still develop a lot. Seawright's doing great as a rookie. We love to see that. And Nolan Smith and Abdul Carter both with 4 sacks apiece at the midseason, so not terrible, but it's definitely not the same without Myles Garrett here. We have $140 million, so I expect to see a lot of players here. We have to re-sign Mitchell Evans, Nasir Overstreet, Mike Hall, Stephen Murray, Nolan Smith, JOK, Ike Mekwonu, LaMichael Sims. Honestly, not as many players here as I would expect. But I definitely want to bring back Mitchell Evans. I'm going to give him a 3-year deal worth $46.5 million. Up the years, and I'm back. Whatever, man. Overstreet, another player that I think we really need to bring back. I'm going to give him a 4-year deal worth $38 million. And he doesn't want to re-sign. Mike Hall, also not interested in the team. We'll give him 3 years, $78. He doesn't want to re-sign. Nobody wants to play for us. Dude, somebody left in the comments on why players aren't interested in playing for me, and I keep forgetting to, figure out how it works. We'll offer Stephen Murray 3 years, $18 million. Also doesn't want to come back. We might have to sim 1 week and try to see if we can get some of these players back. Let's try to see if we can get Ike Mekwonu back for 2 years, $52 million. We got somebody. Let's go. Yeah, I think let's sim 1 week and try to see how many of these players we can get back, because clearly it's not happening right now. But left in and right in are both strengths of the class, so we should be able to get a pretty good pass rusher this season and hopefully try and replace Myles Garrett. Let's sim 1 week. We'll probably lose to the Ravens here, but we need to try to bring all of these players back. And we actually beat the Ravens. That's actually really good. All right, Mitchell Evans, you said up the years and I'm back. 4 years, $62 million. He resigns. He was not lying. At least that's good. So we'll offer Overstreet 4 years, $41 million, and we were able to get him back. Everybody's being stingy, man. Mike Hall, 3 years, $79.5. Doesn't want to re-sign. We'll see what we want to do with him. We'll give Stephen Murray 3 years, $21 million. He's going to come back. Nolan Smith, we're trying to replace him right now. $16 million for JOK. I'm just good off that right now. Maybe he'll regress a little bit by the end of the year and he'll be cheaper. Sims, we don't really need back right now. Same with Joe Tippmann. Same with Denzel Ward. We'll come back to all of these at the end of the season. But yeah, we're sitting at 4-3 right now. We have to go against the Bills and then the Bengals these next 2 weeks. So it could get sketchy, but let's get to the end of the season. Hopefully we find ourselves in the playoffs. All right, and thank God I was slightly worried that we were not going to make the playoffs this year. We actually don't get the 1 seed for once, but we do go 12-5. We actually didn't even win the division at 12-5. But we were in the playoffs, and that's all that matters. Jackson Dart balled out once again through 4,700 yards, 44 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Since like his first couple years, this has basically became his floor, which is insane out of Jackson Dart. Overstreet, just not as good of a season as last year. We're not getting many carries, but I would like for him to average more than 3.4 per carry. Seawright as a rookie goes for 1,200 yards and 17 touchdowns. Will probably win Offensive Rookie of the Year. We got 1,000 yards out of Evans and 8 touchdowns, and 1,000 out of Hurst for 11 touchdowns. And Burrow was 12 yards short of 1,000 with 7 touchdowns. And defensively, we got 11.5 sacks out of Carter, 10.5 out of Nolan Smith, 7.5 out of Mike Hall, and 7 out of Bacon. 5 picks out of JOK, 2 out of Terrion Arnold, and 1 out of Jenkins and Denzel Ward. MVP is going to go to CJ Stroud. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Josh Downs again. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Kenneth Grant. Offensive Rookie of the Year does go to Justin Seawright. I could have assumed that. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Earl Payton for the Texans. So it looks like the Texans had a good year, which is scary considering that's who we're going against in the playoffs. I mean, we have the same overall team. We won the same amount of games. We're playing in Houston. They had a better offense than us this year, but we had a better defense. This is a very even matchup. No matter which way this game goes, I'll be fine with it. I do want us to win, though. And no, we unfortunately lose by 6 to the Texans. I honestly think that's fair. This is probably the worst the roster has been so far, mainly just because of the loss of Myles Garrett. And the Texans were a good team. So at least we lost to a team that should beat us, or at least like has the capability of beating us. And it looks like the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl this year against the Cowboys. Zach Bond is now a Raven and wins Super Bowl MVP. Our rookie receiver should have gotten a dev trait upgrade, which he did. He's going to go up to superstar. So our receiving core continues to look great. We need Overstreet to have a better year next season. And this center we drafted last year, actually a superstar. So after we move on from Joe Tippmann this year, we'll have a great replacement for him. JOK goes up to X Factor. Of course he does when I need to re-sign him. Jeremy Chin retires. Denzel Ward retires, but our secondary's fine. So we just need to get a strong safety, probably re-sign JOK. And yeah, that's honestly really all we need to worry about. We have the 5th year for Denard Hurst, which is $42 million, so I'm not going to be picking that up. And 31 for John Burrow. I'm not picking that up either. Do we just let Mike Hall go and see if there's a D-tackle in free agency that we can get that might actually be interested? I think that's going to be the play. Nolan Smith was pretty good, but I don't feel like paying him $20 million a year when he's 31 and we're trying to draft his replacement. And there also could be an insane pass rusher available in free agency. I will bring back JOK. He's asking for a little bit less money now, and he went up to X Factor. So 2 years, 24, I think is fair. And then we'll bring back Tevin Jenkins on a 1-year deal worth $17 million. Never mind. He doesn't want to play for us. So I guess let's see what we can do in free agency. We have $60 million to work with, which is probably the most we've had since we had to extend Jackson Dart. So what we need to be looking for in free agency is a new guard, a new D tackle, and possibly a safety. If there's a really good pass rusher, I'll probably go for them, but I do plan on replacing pass rusher in the draft, most likely. Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes are both free agents, but so is Landon Dickerson, and with us needing a guard, this could be a very good signing. And 27-year-old Damian Boswell is available. This could actually be a really good signing because this guy could play for us for multiple years. So we're going to have a pretty interesting free agency. We're going to try to bring in Landon Dickerson. We're going to bring in Damian Boswell, and damn, this team really wants Jordan Davis. We're not going to be able to get a D-tackle this year, unfortunately, so we're going to have to draft a pass rusher and a D-tackle. Next year could get sketchy, but we should get Dickerson and Boswell here. We get Boswell. Dickerson's holding out for whatever reason. We gave him a good offer and he's interested, and he didn't accept yet, but I do think he will by the time we get to the draft. So let's send him to the draft. We're going to have some big needs on the defensive side of the ball. If we're not able to get a D-tackle, I think there will be like just an available free agent before the season starts that we could probably plug and play, but it would also be nice to draft one that we could have for the rest of the video because we only got 3 years left. So And I think we have that extra second round pick from the Texans this year as well. But we do get Landon Dickerson, so the offensive line still looks great. The offense as a whole is just absolutely beautiful. And this defense went from having the best D-line for pretty much 7 years straight to looking like this. So let's try to work on that. At least we still got Abdul Carter. That's good. And we're not picking insanely late this year because at least we lost in the wild card. So we pick at 23. Let's see if there's any decent pass rushers that fell down to our pick. And both of the DNs that fell are basically just D tackles. But we do need a D tackle, so that could be worse. So we're going to go with Hunter Schwartz here. B awareness, A block shedding, A play rec, A pursuit, A tackle, A impact blocking, B injury. Looks pretty good. We're going to move him into D tackle, and he's going to be a starter here in his first year. Ranked 35 in true value, has hidden dev and 91 strength. Now, I don't know what we're going to do about the pass rush position. We have 2 second rounders. Do we consider trading both of them? I'm honestly considering trading one of these second rounders for obviously not like an Abdul Carter level player, but just like a plug and play pass rusher that we could get for a second round pick. So we're giving up 2 seconds, a 4th and a 6th for 93 overall, 31-year-old Jared Verse. We had to give up a decent amount, but I think it's fair because he's very good. And I think it's fair we didn't have to give up a first because of his age. And we do still get to hold on to our 3rd round draft pick as well. So, and this center actually looks pretty good, and he looks good enough that we could slide him out to guard if we ever need to. So we're going to go with Steven Langley here. Ranked at 67, that was good value, and he has hidden dev, so I'll definitely take it. We'll hand the rest of the draft over to the CPU, and we'll get ready for year number 8. We definitely took a pretty big hit, but I do think bringing in Jared Verse will be helpful to the team. I think he still had 2 years left on his deal as well. So hopefully he can take over for Nolan Smith, maybe even do a little bit better and be that little extra push we need to actually win a playoff game this season. And Schwartz is a 77 overall at D tackle. We got a 72 overall center. Not the craziest draft, not the flashiest draft, but keep in mind we also traded a bunch of picks for Jared Verse. So definitely a good draft. So here's how the roster is going to look for year number 8. We have continued to have probably the best offensive line in the league year in and year out. We continue to have a great receiving core as well. And then we add Jared Verse to the defensive line. Schwartz is going to be a starting D tackle as a rookie. The secondary looks pretty good. The defense could be a lot better, and it definitely has looked a lot better throughout this video, but if Schwartz can develop as a rookie, I think we'll go straight back to having one of the best defenses in the league. So let's go ahead and hop into year number 8 and get straight to the midseason. And we are straight back to starting off seasons hot. We're going to start off year number 8, 6-0. Jackson Dart has thrown 22 touchdowns through 6 games and only 2 interceptions, and is averaging 260 passing yards a game. Overstreet's back to averaging 4 yards a carry. And we already have 5 sacks out of Abdul Carter and 4.5 out of Jared Verse. The team is playing very good. Last year was just a little bit of a down year, all right? We need to re-sign Denard Hurst. We'll make sure we get him right. We're going to offer him 4 years, $76 million, and he's excited to stay with the team. We'll re-sign John Burrow as well for 3 years, $34 million. He's going to re-sign. Jonathan Bartell, we'll give him 2 years, $18 million. He re-signs as well. We'll bring back Terrion Arnold for 1 year, $8 million. He's going to re-sign. That's really most of the important players. We'll consider bringing back Jack Campbell and Landon Dickerson at the end of the season, but they could retire or regress. We'll just have to see what happens there. So let's get to the end of the season and let's see how the team finishes off. We could be the 1 seed in the AFC once again. And we're going to finish the year 12-5 once again. We had the number 1 scoring offense and a top 15 scoring defense. Jackson Dart throws for over 4,500 yards, 46 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions. Another great season from him. Overstreet with over 900 yards, 4.1 per carry, and got 15 rushing touchdowns, 1,100 yards out of Hurst, 1,000 out of Burrow, and 1,000 out of Seawright. We had 3 double-digit sackers, 15.5 out of Abdul Carter, 13 out of Jared Verse, and 12 out of Isaiah Bacon. MVP is going to be Marcus Crocker for the Cowboys, whoever that is. Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Jamar Chase. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Abdul Carter. He didn't even have that crazy of a year, but I will definitely take that. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to the Chiefs. Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to the Dolphins. We actually came in second place with our D tackle, so it sucks we didn't win it, but we have a wild card game here against the Colts. We're 2 overalls higher. We had a better offense. We had a better defense. We won 3 more games in the regular season. We're playing at home. 0 reason we should lose this game. So, of course, we lose it. You know, makes sense. Whatever, man. We already won our Super Bowl, but it's just like, bro, I understand losing certain playoff games. We should not be losing that playoff game. It makes no sense. We're a higher overall. We're a better team on offense and defense. There's just no reason we should be losing. Well, we got 2 years left. We have 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl win, and a lot of 1 seeds that led to nothing. So we got to try to get another one. The Texans are going to win the Super Bowl this year. No dev-ups on offense, and I don't think we got any dev-ups on defense either, but everybody looks to be doing all right, I guess. I cannot believe we lost that first playoff game. That makes no sense, man. So I'll bring back Jack Campbell on a 1 year, $8.5 million deal. Oh, never mind. He doesn't want to re-sign. Why would he? And then we'll bring back Landon Dickerson for 1 year, $17 million. So we won't have much money to work with in free agency, so we'll probably have to fill out the rest of the holes through the draft, but we really only lost Jack Campbell this year, so I think we'll be all right. We have $6 million to work with in free agency, so we should be able to pretty easily get a linebacker to replace him. Lamar, Joe Burrow are both free agents. Amon is a free agent. That's pretty sick. So we're just going to go for this guy, Jamal Jones. I don't know who he is, but he has Superstar, and he was cheaper than Jack Campbell. Oh, my goodness, bro. So I guess we're just going to see if we can luck out and get Jack Campbell on a super cheap deal. I don't really know what's going to happen there. Let's just get to the draft. I really don't know if we need anything this season, so I wouldn't hate kind of like just trading back our first and second round pick and just trying to get ready for next year for any players we're going to lose. And then that could also give us the luxury of potentially trading a first rounder, trading a second rounder for the last year of the rebuild and trying to get another Super Bowl. I mean, realistically, I don't know what we really need to draft. We have some depth on the offensive line for whenever we lose some of these players. All of our receivers are pretty young and under contract. And then maybe we'll need to replace Jared Verse next year, but I don't see any reason in going out and doing that in this year's draft, unless there's like some crazy defensive ends, but which there really isn't. So we'll probably trade most of these picks back this year. Texans are going to offer us their first and third for next year for our first rounder. The Seahawks are going to offer us a second and a third next year for our second rounder. And then I'll just give these rest of these picks to the CPU because I don't really have any idea what I want to draft, so they can handle it. So the roster's looking pretty good for the second to last year. Let's go ahead and get straight to the end of year number 9 and see what record this team finishes off with. We are here at the midseason, and we have to re-sign Jackson Dart, so I am going to show this. We're going to give him a 3-year, $167 million deal. We're going to give Craig Jenkins 3 years, $18 million. We're going to re-sign Sean Kramer for 2 years, $7.2 million. And that's all the re-signings we're making at this midseason. All right, in year 9, we're going to finish 13-4, find ourselves hosting another playoff game. We had the number 2 scoring offense, the number 5 scoring defense. Let's quickly check out these stats. Jackson Dart was 100 yards short of throwing for 5,000 again through 39 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Overstreet with almost 1,000 yards, got in the end zone 13 times, 1,300 yards out of Burrow, 1,200 out of Hurst, and 1,000 out of Mitchell Evans. And Abdul Carter just went for 20 sacks. We got 15 out of Jared Verse, 8.5 out of Schwartz, 4 picks out of JOK, 4 out of Craig Jenkins, and then 1 out of a decent amount of players. MVP this season's once again go to Marcus Crocker. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Jamar Chase. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Abdul Carter. And then I didn't draft, so I don't care about the rookies of the year. We're going against the Dolphins in the wild card. Last time this happened, I said, oh, we're going against the Dolphins. Let's just send past this and get this win out of the way. And we lost, so let's not say that again. We are way better than this team, though. Like, let's just send the divisional and get this win out of the way. No way it happened again. Like, we're just... Dude, this is actually such baloney. We should not be losing to these teams, bro. Like, at least we already won a Super Bowl this video, or else I'd be a little more angry right now. But that's 2 years in a row that we've lost to teams that we are so much better than, and we're playing at home. Like, come on! And the Raiders are going to win a Super Bowl. Great! Jahmyr Gibbs retired. Jalen Hurts is leaving the Eagles. A lot of shit's going down. We'll pick up the 5th year for Seawright just because it's the last year. We'll pick up the 5th year for Bowen as well. I mean, Jared Verse was pretty good. I wouldn't hate bringing him back for 2 years, $50 million. We'll go ahead and do that. We'll bring back Terry Arnold on a cheap 1-year deal. He's starting to regress a lot. We could probably use like a lockdown corner. And then we'll give Ikem Ekwonu. Ooh, we can't afford Ikem Ekwonu. Well, I know what we're using our first round pick on. Because I do want to make sure that we can get a good corner in free agency, and drafting tackles isn't that hard. Actually, I forgot that we had a pretty good backup tackle, so we really just need a guard. Oh wait, that's what we have Langely for. Okay, offensive line is fine. The whole offense as a whole is fine. We lost both of our linebackers, and actually our corners are fine too, so we really just need linebackers at this point. And of course, there's no linebackers available. Oh, Jack Campbell didn't retire. We just lost him to free agency, and I didn't realize. So we can get Jack Campbell back, and then we're also going to go for Teddy Friedman, try to bring him in. So we'll have 2 pretty good linebackers. I might try to trade for like a really good linebacker and a really good corner, because this is the last year. We have a lot of draft picks, so I can trade a first rounder for each one I want to go for. I'll probably have to restructure a couple of contracts to free up the money to do so, but I want to try to make sure we get a Super Bowl this last year after getting 2 BS losses in the last 2 years. So we're going to be trading a 1 and a 2 from this year, and then some pretty late future picks for a 98 overall middle linebacker from the Bengals. We get to steal him from a division rival, and we add a position of need, and we still have another 1 and 2 that I'm probably going to trade here, which isn't the most realistic thing, but I honestly just really don't feel like drafting. And then we're going to trade a 1 and a 3 for a 30-year-old X-Factor Will Johnson. The CPU will still have a 2nd and 2/3 to work with. I'm just going to simulate the draft and let the CPU handle all of that. We made the roster very good for this last season. We probably didn't set the future up that well when it comes to cap, but who cares? It's the last year. So here's how the roster is looking going into the last year. Offense looks pretty similar, and then the defense also looks similar, but add a 99 overall X-Factor linebacker and a 95 X-Factor Will Johnson to the secondary, and I think we're ready to hop into this final year. Before we do, I do want to see if we are the highest overall team in the league. So we currently sit at a 94 overall, and the next highest team is the Texans with a 90. So we are the highest overall team in the league by 4 overalls. Let's get to the end of this final year. Let's see what happens. I'm sure we're going to go like 7-10 and miss the playoffs or something, but let's see. All right, and we went 12-5. I would have liked to have a little bit of a better record. I feel like this team could be one to go 17-0, but we did have the best defense in the league when it came to points allowed. And Jackson Dart led the league in passing yards again with 4,800, 38 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Overstreet is just very inconsistent, but he doesn't get many carries, so I guess it's fair. We had 3 1,000-yard receivers, and Evans got 900 receiving yards. And then, wow, we had 4 double-digit sackers, 17.5 out of Abdul Carter, 16.5 out of Verse, 13 out of Bacon, and 10.5 out of Schwartz. We're going to be taking on the Chiefs here in the wild card. We're 3 overalls higher than them. They had a slightly better offense, but we had a better defense. We're playing at home. Can we please just win one of these wild card games? Like, what's crazy is I was just about to say that is the only wild card game that I would have been okay with losing compared to the last 2, and we win by 14. We're 5 overalls higher than the Texans, so if we lose this game, this is going through my monitor, and we beat them by 34. Taking on the 86 overall Broncos, so we're 8 overalls higher, had a better scoring offense, had a better scoring defense. This should be an easy ride to the Super Bowl. If we lose to a team in the AFC Championship that we're 8 overalls higher than, oh, this monitor doesn't know what's coming for it. And we're in the Super Bowl in year 10. Our 3rd Super Bowl appearance. Let's try to get Jackson Dart another Super Bowl. Gosh, this roster is just so sexy, man. We did such a great job with this rebuild. I mean, this last year, the roster definitely looks better than it should because I traded a bunch of draft picks. But, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. I do want to check something real quick. We broke the all-time single-season passing touchdown record with Jackson Dart. We broke the all-time season stack record with Myles Garrett with 25. Jackson Dart is the Browns' leading passer in yards of all time, touchdowns, and then Mitchell Evans is the leading receiver and touchdowns for Browns all time and receptions, and then Myles Garrett, of course, the sack leader of all time. So that's always pretty interesting to look at. We're going to be taking on the Commanders here in the Super Bowl. They still got Jaden Daniels. Other than that, I don't know who those other players are, but it's only right that it's the last year. We got to hop in and play a drive with this God squad and hopefully get another Super Bowl win here against Washington. If you're a Browns fan, this must be amazing to watch because you have never gotten to witness anything like this in your life. We're actually going to hold the Commanders on their opening drive, so if we can go down and get a touchdown, we will be setting ourselves up perfectly to win this Super Bowl. And since we already have a Super Bowl win, I'm a little bit more comfortable throwing a bomb. All right, the bomb didn't work. Oh my goodness. So much green. Just one man to beat. Please. You're so slow! I will take that, though. Now we have a little more room to throw another bomb. That's all it really is about at the end of the day, is just chucking bombs. Oh, that's... Oh, no. Oh, yes! Boom! They were in man, and my outside receiver was on a post, so it kind of looked like the DB with him was just running straight towards the ball I threw, but we came down with it. Let's go get in the end zone here. This is free. I'm going to hurdle this guy. Please don't fumble. Please don't fumble. That would have been really bad. Oh, I dare you. Oh, this is so free on an inside zone, actually. Let's just hand this off. Let's get a touchdown. Hopefully Jackson Dart wins Super Bowl MVP this time around if we win. Hey, so I can't get in the end zone, and I'm really scared to throw it because every time I throw it on the goal line, I throw an interception. But I think this is going to be a touchdown to either Burrow or Wright. I just threw a pick. Yeah, I kind of spoke that one into existence. You know what? I deserve that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I think they just threw a pick on like their own goal line, so that's always good. And then we get another stop, drive down the field, go up 14-0. This is actually such a God squad. We're driving down the field again, go up 21-7, get another stop. That's pretty much all she wrote. We're kind of just running up the score at this point. Let's keep doing it, honestly. 28-7. The Browns are now 2-time Super Bowl champions. So Jackson Dart, 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champion, hopefully a 1-time Super Bowl MVP. We'll take a look at that real quick before we end this video. But Jackson Dart is guaranteed like a first ballot Hall of Famer at this point. So Cleveland, go out, get Abdul Carter, take Jackson Dart in the second round, which is actually what I want them to do, by the way, like unironically. But let's see, is Jackson Dart going to be the Super Bowl? Normally, when I go all out for the last year of a rebuild, it never works. I am so happy that it worked this season. And your 2034 Super Bowl MVP is Jackson Dart. Let's go. And that's going to be it for this video. 10 years in, we had 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 Super Bowls. Jackson Dart won 2 MVPs. We won a lot of Defensive Player of the Years. We developed many players. And Abdul Carter, the main reason we kind of did this video, he was probably in the title and on the thumbnail, was still on the team till the very end of it. So that's always great to see. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And don't forget to send me a screenshot of you being subscribed for a chance to win a free jersey. And please comment any future rebuilds that you would like to see if you want to get your comment put in a video. That's going to be all for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Deuces.
now it's sore throat. Here we in late with the hoes, we got a boatload. Oh, I keep a K with a drum, no need to reload. You not bulletproof, shoot by myself just like a free throw. Bitch on my body, then I meet up. That bitch on the side, she want me to fuck a primo. You want OG cookies, but this shit not free though. Now you wanna scrap pussy, pull it cause I need those.